has given us another day to exist. That's what we want. We want them to say, okay, you can do this. You can do this one more time if you behave yourself. If you behave yourself. And here we are. We are live. Yes, it all kicked in. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good morrow. If you're in Australia, how's the future? Is it copacetic? Are we going to be okay? Whatever's going on where you're at, I hope it's amazing. I hope you are staying safe. I hope you are staying well. I hope all your dreams came true, every single one of them, whatever it was. Hope you crushed it. You know, you got to have some optimism. Shout out to everyone who makes this show possible before we kick in. First of all, ZT.com, ZHITEA.com. Their tea kind of rules. And you can get their tea wholesale. And it's run by a great lefty and friend of the show, Jeffrey. Their tea's amazing. They supply the tea to this show. Graham Elwood has his own tea, the Vigilante. Check that out. Ron Placone doesn't have a tea yet. I don't know what the folks at ZT are thinking, but I do not have a tea. But check out their tea. Get some of it wholesale, ZT.com. Also, our friends at Trendiest Dabbers. Thank you for the recent swag and the trendy pain oil. They make CBD pain oil that honestly does wonders. You guys know I was in a car accident in 2013. My neck will never be the same. And nothing has helped it like this pain oil. I'm not embellishing. I'm not kidding. I am 110% serious. Nothing has helped it like this pain oil. So shout out to our friends over at Trendiest Dabbers. Thank you for the recent swag and especially the guitar picks. That was a very nice personal touch. I appreciate it very much. And of course, the Civi app, CIVVY app.com. It's an app that compiles civics for you. What you do is you enter some information about your views. You ask questions about your take on things and you fill it out, and then they match you up with issues that pertain to your life. And they even tell you how compatible you are to different politicians. I found out I'm not very compatible with anybody. I am at most like 70% with and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. But check out that app. It's a very interesting way to compartmentalize civics. And what they also want to be is they want to be a hub for independent media. So you can go get your news of the day and you'll see different segments from different creators, including yours truly. Saw Get Your News On with Ron clip on that, which is pretty cool. So check that out, the Civi app, CIVVY app.com. Without further ado, I got a guest today, and this guy is the co-host of one of my favorite podcasts. I was actually just listening to it last night. Please welcome to the show, Gareth Reynolds.
Hello, Ron.
What's up, Gareth? Yeah, I was actually when you texted me, I was actually listening to one of your episodes because I was going on my nightly walk, which is one of the big highlights of my life now. And I was listening to the dollop when you texted me.
We're all back to the simple pleasures now. I had a good whittle. I had a nice whittle. I had a good whistle, and I walked, and I had a whittle.
Well, that's like sometimes I tell my wife it's like we're like living an old-timey lifestyle in many ways, because it's like do you want to go to the farmer's market and get our crops for the week? And she's like, well, I got bread baking, so I can't go anywhere. No, I have a loaf.
Food has become, it's still not nearly as complex as it was for a hunter-gatherer, but now the acquisition of food and the possession of food has a total new level of entitlement to it.
Here, move over slightly this way. Other way. There you go. Perfect. Yes. Beautiful. Yes. No, beautiful. Nailed it. Yeah, the Get Your News On with Ron emblem was cutting off your one eye.
Oh,
it was like a pirate eye patch of Get Your News On with Ron.
We'll take the liberals, Ron.
Perfect. So first of all, man, we're both cat people, so we got to touch base on this. How is Jose, your cat?
He's good. He's right here next to me right now. Regal Beast. He's good. He definitely is. I'm not sure what has happened to our relationship in quarantine. Like, I think we've gotten closer, but then I also think now there's a level of ownership over me that didn't have before that he's just like super comfortable with, where he really is just like he wakes me up at like 5 a.m. just to be like, what are you doing? And I'm like, what the fuck you? What is your problem? So I don't know.
You don't do that schedule thing anymore. It's over.
Yeah, and he's sort of right. That's what drives me crazy. I'm sort of like, you have every right to just get me up, whatever. Life, the time has no meaning anymore. How is Lucy?
So Lucy is in the best shape she's been in I want to say a decade, and I'm not embellishing, because she has because I was going to ask, like, she's lost weight because she just has unlimited playtime now.
Yeah.
Like between, my wife's always home, I'm always home, and so we're not leaving much. So whenever she wants to play, she just can. She's making jumps that she totally couldn't have made a year ago.
Wow.
Like and I feel like she's almost noticed, like she realized that I noticed. So now it's like she's
showing off a little.
Yeah, like she did this jump from the couch to the table, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know you could see, because she's not a spring chicken,
Yeah.
She just turned 14, so she's getting up there. And she just made this, and I'm like, wow. And so now she's just like, she'll just do it, and she'll be like, huh? I could do that again. See what I did there? I nailed that.
Did Lucy just say "suck my dick" under her breath as she left the room?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, Jose's not lost weight, but we're happy with his progress.
Yeah, no, I'm happy for her, man. She's just, I'm thinking about maybe getting her a little sibling. Maybe. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know. Wow, she might not take. I mean,
that's the thing. Getting another cat is like there's kind of two Pandora's boxes with your cats and the decisions you make. One is it going to be a solo cat? Are you going to have an only child, a latchkey kid? And the second is, are you going to let the cat outside? Are you going to? And those two things are Pandora's boxes, because one, if you have another cat, you got to keep that other cat. But if your cat is like, my life sucks now, you feel terrible. My friend the other day was saying, like, do not ever let your cat outside, because I let my cat outside. And like another cat, and it's just then the cat just becomes like, meh, 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 and you're like, oh, no. So yeah, that's a big move, Ron.
I'm thinking about it. I mean, I don't know, because she might not. Traditionally, she has not taken kindly to other animals. So I mean, she lived with another cat for a while at one point, and she's even had some dogs as roommates. Not my dogs, but roommates' dogs, and she's never really been a fan. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's a dice roll. That's a dice roll.
It really is, man. But speaking of dice rolls, we got some news, buddy, and you're probably thinking police brutality is completely out of control at an absurd level, and society has reached its breaking point. You might be thinking something like that, but the good news is Trump signed an executive order, and we got it under control now. We're good. We fixed it. We fixed it. Here's what he has to say.
Okay.
He signed an executive order today.
Today is about pursuing common sense and fighting for a cause like we seldom get the chance to fight for.
Oh, my Lord.
We have to find common ground. But I strongly oppose the radical and dangerous efforts to defend, dismantle, and dissolve our police departments.
I don't think he meant to say defend there. I think that was like a slip of the tongue. Yeah.
One out of three for him is pretty good.
That is pretty solid.
He got two of them right.
Especially now when we've achieved
So that's basically
the lowest recorded crime rates in recent history.
Lowest recorded crime rates in history. He's bragging about the crime rate right now. He sees potential there.
What is actually in this executive order?
So that's where we're going next, Gareth.
Okay, because
that's where we're going next.
I don't even know the answer to that. I mean, but you can tell how delicately he's tiptoeing around so far, not really doing anything.
Right. Oh, exactly. Yeah. So here's what's going on so far. Trump signed an executive order pretty much today. President Trump signed an executive order aimed at tracking misconduct by law enforcement and creating incentives for departments to improve their practices. The Trump administration's orders rejects calls to defund the police. So basically, he's giving them more money, and he's also giving them incentives to do the right thing. So you're going to get more money no matter what. And I guess if you don't kill unarmed people, you get even more money. You get a bonus for that.
And to be fair, isn't this already Joe Biden's plan? Didn't he just steal this from Joe Biden, who wants to just give more money to the police as well?
Yeah.
And create task forces or whatever.
Joe Biden also called for more money in police, and then Joe Biden said, let's try to shoot people in the leg instead of in the heart.
I like that's called the Terminator Act. That's the Terminator 2 Act.
He gave that speech at a church, Joe Biden, when he was talking about.
I couldn't tell where he was because it looked like he had a plastic bag over his head because his mask is so ludicrous. Yeah, I mean, I think the anticipation of this moment for both sides really is, how do you look like you're taking a lot of action and listening to the voice of the people, and yet still really at the end of the day change so little? I mean, it's almost like after Stoneman Douglas, when we got bump stocks. Like this is the bump stock equivalent of, this is placation to the highest degree, where it's just like, and to not even ban chokeholds, that would be the bump stock. But I do think that, we don't expect this man to meet this moment, and there we go.
Yeah, I mean, so they're giving departments incentives to involve trained professionals such as social workers to respond to calls for certain nonviolent issues, including mental health, drug addiction, and homelessness, rather than the police alone. Like, okay, right. But like, how does this work? Are the social workers going to be taken care of? Because usually when that happens now, which it does happen now, people have to volunteer for that. Like, social workers need to volunteer.
I do. It all just sounds so sort of what you're saying. Like, it sounds so nebulous that's how it's not good, because it means that they have to do very little. Like, if you, and I think that's that's right. I mean, to some extent, there are just situations that the police shouldn't even be called on to go to. So it's not really their fault that they're there for someone who has mental incapabilities or whatever. But yeah, I mean, how this is like when they're saying that there's going to be oversight in the trillions of dollars they've given to Wall Street, and then they're just able to be like, hey, the lifeguard went home.
Well, here's the best part. Here's who they consulted with. The administration worked with numerous police groups. So hey, we have a systemic disease in law enforcement. Let's ask law enforcement what we need to do about this.
Good.
So police groups, religious leaders, because that's who's on top of it. The pastor in a suburb. That person can tell you all about police brutality.
Have either of you been drinking this evening? Oh, hello, Bishop.
I mean, that's like really. Yeah. The only time I recall something crazy happening at a church was when Dylan Roof, the white supremacist, shot 9 people at a black church.
And then got to have Burger King.
On the way. He was apprehended peacefully and then got to get Burger King on his way to jail.
Of course. But people say that there's a treatment gap. I'm not seeing it. Yeah, I mean, it.
And family organizations. That's the other group involved here. Family organizations.
Isn't it like you can placate better than this? This is like not even top tier placation. You can so easily get some. You could so easily bring in some groups that actually sound like they are going to do something more. You could bring in like black organizations that you can steamroll, but you could at least get their name.
Right.
To not even bother to put the effort forward to bother to pretend that you're doing that is it's so blatant, and it's just so common. I mean, it's just business as usual.
Well, we could not pitch this as a series.
No.
I mean, like, we could not, like they could not pitch 2020 as a series, because people would be like, no, come on. Are you kidding?
Yeah. No. Like, that's the first 8 seasons, and you're saying it's one season? You're like, I'm saying this is one season. This is one season of a show. There's a pandemic. There's riots. The economy is about to explode in a terrible way. Yeah. No, I mean, it is. I remember when Prince and David Bowie died, and we were all like, man, 2017 needs to get the fuck out of it. We were all like so anti-20. Like, I look back at that, man, we really just could not have seen this. That's probably why we got 2020, because 2017 was like, I'm going to come back. So
yeah. Yeah. Well, remember a couple months ago when people started a change.org petition because they didn't like the way a TV show ended? Remember that?
Yeah. You know, I also find it so alienating now with commercials where the commercial will be like, boy, does your deck get way too sunny? Ugh, it's a nightmare. I'm like, this was where we were at. This was enviable. Good God.
Oh man.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to doing like the absolute most when this is all over?
It's a generic comedian answer, but honestly, the two things I'm looking forward to doing is just going out to a bar and having some laughs and performing and being a crowd again. I mean, I think back on all the weekends that, you know, where you had shows where you're like, oh man, Saturday's second show is going to suck. It's like, man, I will take that show and I'll do it 50 times right now.
Yeah, that's the one thing I was thinking too, where it's like I'll never ever take stand up for granted ever again. I mean, I've taken it for granted less since being here in LA, and I know you've been here longer than I have, but like since moving to LA, you know, because I was just like on the road full time before coming to LA, and then when I came to LA, I just appreciated stand up so much more because I just really. You know, it wasn't the only thing I was up to. So I had to like just carve out the time to make sure I was still working on jokes some during the week and hitting an open mic day sharp and then hitting the road on the weekends. So I grew to appreciate it a lot more. But now it's just like, I will never like, if there's a microphone anywhere and there's someone who's willing to listen to my jokes, I will cherish every single second.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to be in the lobby of Flap for 7 days a week on that little weird stage.
It's gonna be your residency.
Completely.
They're gonna be like, dude, we got the main room, we got the bar room, we got we got Gareth in the parking lot.
Gareth's clubhouse. Hey, how's everybody? Just near a shack where the valet keeps the keys. Don't worry, it's not mine. Don't worry about it. It's a green room too.
You guys look like you're on a first date.
We're walking to the club. Hey, can I have $1? Have, not borrow. Is there what is the thing outside of performing that you're looking forward to?
Honestly, like outside of performing, live music. I can't wait to see live music again. Yeah. That's going to be amazing. I mean, I have some concert tickets that are hopefully like going to be rescheduled and honored after all this.
Well, isn't it weird though when you see now, like when you just, you know, whatever, watch a thing and you see a bunch of people in a stadium, there is now a buffer in my mind that goes, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, even just little things like when I'm watching TV shows and stuff, and I see somebody like shake someone's hand and then shake someone else's hand and then not hand sanitize. And I'm like, oh man,
by the way,
they really lived on the edge back then in 2004.
All of what you just said happened in the Rose Garden today at the executive order signing. Did you see them all palling around, handshaking?
Oh no, I just read the thing. I didn't. All right.
They're standing, you know, Jim Jordan and all of them, Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell actually had a mask on, but he was like one of the only ones. But like Bill Barr, they're all, you know, very close to each other, talking, shaking hands and stuff. I just can't believe how little they seem to care. At times it makes me go, what the fuck is going on? Because they just seem so, I mean, if it, like, Trump should have it. Trump should have COVID without question. I mean, but here, you know, it just, the man's a human cockroach.
Apparently, man. And then, well, remember when that thing went viral when the governor of Georgia was speaking, and it went viral because the person doing the sign language looked like David Letterman a little bit. Yeah. So people were all like, oh my God, it looks like David Letterman's doing sign language. And some people really thought it was like, they're like, oh my God, that's David Letterman. And that's the only act. Right. Well, and that's the only reason it went viral.
Yeah, but not because of him saying
right. When you listened to the speech, you were like, this guy's a governor? He had like, no idea what was going on.
Someone just told me this thing's contagious.
He even said it was real. Like he was just like, this it's actually a thing. And it's a little more intense than the flu. And so we're gonna try to wash our hands a little more for a while, and we might have to do some stuff. But the economy, am I right?
But anyway, I stole this. So the election. Anyway, I should get out of here. Completely stole it. See you later.
And they're all saying like, well, some of these states, I wonder if they're being misled by certain numbers. It's like, no, they're not being misled. They just don't care.
Oh,
they just don't care. They'd rather let you die.
I think the people have gotten to that point too. I think the people have been rocked into the fuck it, because we really are ultimately asking so little. I mean, you're essentially, the big ask is wear a mask. I mean, that's the big ask, wear a mask.
Yeah.
And that is so minimal. I was watching this thing on the Dust Bowl the other day, and just asking people to put a piece of cloth on their face when they go out. I mean, the Dust Bowl was like you had to wear like a potato bag over your head as you ran home blindly. And these people were like, we'll see it through, but we're just like, we are like, no, I can't possibly put cotton over my face for the 2-block walk. I mean, nobody cares. And so it is just,
you're telling me I got to cover my nose too? I need to see a source on that.
The way the anti-nose people are also this odd little sect where we're like, well, how did you carve out a third lane where they're like, we just believe the nose needs to be free?
Don't tread on my nose.
That's right. But the mouth they'll do. But the nose, they're like, I need the nose.
I gotta say, man, especially as a ginger, my favorite part is covering my nose because, like, I have not had to use as much sunscreen amidst all this. Like whenever I go for walks and stuff, the face, it's just covered. So
the covering of the face helps a number of us. But yeah, for sure. There's just, in general, it's like, it's hard to tell what people look like. Like if you go out and you see somebody, like, you seem attractive, but most of your face is gone. So I can't. Yeah, but people don't care. So that's why, we're going to see what we're going to see, which is just going to be like, some kind of crazy number spike that we're already in the middle of, obviously, but it's just going to keep going and going.
Yeah, it's hard because you're just like, our numbers are still going up. And when you look at like the map of the world, like New York Times did that interactive map where they showed like the numbers. By the way,
Ron, let's be honest, they do the best interactive maps.
They nailed the interactive maps.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're just like aces in their places. War propaganda, interactive maps. We nail it 100% of the time.
Hypothetical ballistics. We're your guys.
We're your guys.
Okay, sorry.
But well, they showed all the countries, and it's like the countries, some of them are going down, but then others are like still in the red. We're still in the red.
Oh yeah.
And then you see these art where it's like, welcome back.
Yeah,
we did it.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if anyone predicted the 1.5 wave, which is what it feels like we're in right now, where it's sort of like where the new wave is kind of coming in, but the old wave is still going. There's a little bit of an undertow. Like we're culminating, I believe, to a moment of like crazy COVID numbers,
Yeah, well, and we have, and this transitions into what I want to talk about next. We have a government that is refusing to take care of its people. I mean, it's unbelievable what has happened so far. That one-time payment was a joke. And they've just given it all to the banks. Like literally, it was just a wealth transfer. It was just, they literally were like, hey, here's trillions, banks. Are you going to give this to people? And the banks were like, no, probably not. And we were like, okay, we're going to go on vacation anyway. Yeah. That's what they did the first time. Yeah. And they've just done a version of that ever since.
And they called it the CARES Act.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the balls. They should have called it the Balls Act.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is completely crazy. And I just don't know what they're thinking, because even if you are these selfish, self-obsessed, corrupted people, you still want to keep up the appearance that you're taking. They've gotten so lazy in how little they'll do. Yeah. Like it used to be in this situation, they would keep the payment going because you have to give us bread and circus. So bread is part of that. So continue to dole out the bread, but they just seem now to not worry about, removing that.
Yeah, well,
the
they're
scaffold.
just like, we don't have to care about subtlety because Trump didn't care about it. He won,
Yeah.
so why should any of us care about it?
And
Republicans and Democrats are just like, yeah, whatever. We don't.
it really, in a way, is like, I would say that would be the difference in governance between Obama and right now. Obama would be smart enough to keep the ruse going.
Right.
And make those payments and go, yeah, look, we print money here. Nobody gives a shit. Like, let's just do that for 2 more months, and keep them believing. And instead we have this where it's just like, nah.
I'd love it if he said that. That would have been a great, like just like, oh, we print money here. Who gives a shit?
Because we print money. Who gives a shit?
We print money.
Who gives a shit?
Well, here's what they're thinking about doing instead. The Trump administration is considering a back to work cash bonus. So that's what they want to do. The federal $600 a week is supposed to run out at the end of July. What they're trying to do is they're thinking they want to give people a bonus to go back to work. They're entertaining the idea. One proposal from Senator Rob Portman in Ohio would give returning workers an extra $450 a week. And another Republican, Kevin Brady out of Texas, suggested a $1,200 hiring bonus. And because the problem, Gareth, isn't that the economy is pretty much shutting down because the government has abandoned its people. The problem is people just don't want to go back to work because they're getting taken care of so much.
They are just delusional. I mean, that is so crazy. And what jobs? What jobs? What jobs? What plethora of jobs?
Well, they're pointing to that 2.5 million jobs have occurred, which, are mostly going to be like jobs at grocery stores and stuff like that, like services that need to keep going. But what they don't mention alongside that is the fact that in that same time period, 7.5 million jobs have gone away. So we're still standing at a negative 5 million here. We're still at negative. How many jobs do we have? Negative 5 million. That's where we're at. Like, well, we added 2 point, but you lost the other. Okay.
Well, we probably got to put some incentives on those jobs we don't have.
Yeah, we got. If we give people an incentive for those jobs,
for these mirage jobs. Yeah. It really is completely astounding. I mean, it would just be a lot better and wiser in the long run to actually look in the mirror right now and do some self-diagnosis and really say, there's some major problems, and you guys can. I mean, we've allowed our government to be corrupt my entire life and found it funny. We've always just mocked it like, oh, these fat cats and what, so we're comfortable with it. But at this point, it's like they have cut off the valve to the people and are just putting it right back into their pool. And I think that it's penny wise, dollar foolish for them, because you're just going to create desperation in the streets, and that's going to be dangerous for them. I mean, you don't think that people are going to like find out where Nancy Pelosi lives and fucking force feed her that chocolate ice cream until she's like on her kitchen, her beautiful Spanish tiled floor.
That segment really upset me because I'm just really like, look, I was like, Nancy, if you're going to show off your kitchen, you could at least show us the oven Hansel and Gretel were pushed into. Why couldn't you at least give us something instead of just showing off your ice cream? It really wasn't right.
It's the double-barreled fridge. Who has a $12,000 fridge? Who has 2 of them?
I didn't know such a thing existed. Like if I was on The Price is Right and they're just like, what do you think? I'd be like, dude, I mean, $5.
$1, Drew.
$1.
$1, Drew. Yeah. No, but she's got 2. Yeah. I mean, it's bad. It's not going to get any better, and it's bad right now. And there's no plan. And it doesn't seem
there's no plan from anybody. No one has any plan. Like they have just revealed themselves.
There's not one person that is making sense. There's not one person that you're going, oh yeah, okay. I mean, like at times there are progressives that seem to make sense, but it's still not
but they're just tweeting. They're just tweeting nice things. That's what's frustrating. It's like they're just tweeting these nice things. This is what we need to do.
Yeah.
Okay, well, how is that going to happen? Well, it's not. But I'm tweeting it, so that means I care. And it's like this is
the House. I mean, if you really did have an alternative party, the House would do something.
Mm-hmm.
The House should be coming up with extravagant bills for the people to show the people that, look, we're trying to help you. But everybody's just so fucking lazy.
Yeah. Well, and they would also like force the hands of people who are opposed to it.
Yeah,
where it's like, here's what we want to do. Here's the dust settling, and here's who doesn't want you.
Yeah.
To get an emergency UBI that, by the way, pretty much every other country has given their people wage replenishment, emergency UBIs, pretty much in Canada, England.
And we're not talking about countries with great governments. It's not like Australia's government is like super, it's a very progressive government. It's not like the UK Boris Johnson, but still they go, hey, we're an incompetent system. However, we need to keep up appearances, so we've obviously got to pay these people to not go outside. I mean, we're not idiots. We're a corrupted government, but we're not like crazy.
Yeah. They're basically just like, hey, we're pretty corrupt, but we're still a country. We still do that. Like in a situation like this, we're going to be a country. The United States was just like, we're a country.
We're a Six Flags.
We're like
Six Flags.
Pretty much. We're
a country.
We're a corporation with state lines south of Canada.
We are 100%. I mean, we are essentially like a NASCAR. We are just a bunch of products put on one piece of land.
It's insane. Yeah. And we're a capitalism death cult. Like they're literally just like, I forget which person it was, but it was someone, I think it was a Republican, but they were just like, we're for sure not going to shut down again, no matter what, because the economy. Yeah. And it's like, this is beyond psychotic at this point.
Also, when you look at Wall Street, I mean, when you look at the stock market, it's just the disparity between what is happening in America and what is happening on Wall Street are two completely different stories.
Well, the richest among us have gotten $434 billion richer.
Yeah.
The billionaires already.
Well, the billionaires, let alone the money that's actually been directly, hosed right into the trillions of dollars that, I mean, the oversight thing is the thing that, how Mnuchin promised oversight into distributing the trillions of dollars. And that was
one. And then yesterday he was like, screw you.
And then yesterday was just like, no.
Like, hey, where'd the money go? Not none of your business.
Yeah. I mean,
that's the other thing that's so insane. Is like when you factor in what Wall Street generates, and Wall Street generates everything can be traced back to our money. Like they just extract. That's what Wall Street does. Every single penny can be traced back to some municipal fund, someone's pension, our money, basically our money. And when you factor in what they generate, and it's literally like in the quadrillions, them giving like our government giving an emergency UBI to people until this thing's over. It's the equivalent of like if all of the resources Wall Street has is a coastline. It's like the equivalent, and I'm talking like coastline beyond as far as your eye can see. It's the equivalent of like taking your finger, getting a little dab of sand and walking away with that dab of sand on your finger. It's nothing. And it would keep us afloat until this thing's over.
It's Mark Cuban giving someone a scratch off.
Yeah.
It's a drop. It's a drop. And it's too much. I mean, in a way, look, you can look at it one of two ways. I mean, you can look at it as it is on its face, which is terrible, corrupted, disgusting, and really, again, so devilish. I mean, so incapable of actual emotion. That is what our corporation country doesn't have a heart. But the good news, in a way, is that this is going to push people to a point where they are just completely fucking fed up. And this is going to really present it in the open for what our government is, which is just a total sham. Completely a completely corrupted system. All of the members, all of the top tier members in our government, the medium members in our government are bought, corrupted, and so I really think in the last year, my guess is Trump's popularity has dropped a little bit, but Pelosi's has dropped a shitload. I mean, it seems like people are finally waking up to this idea that they're the opposition as bullshit. I mean, there's still the people when she holds a Bible or reads from a Bible or tears up a speech that think that that's real opposition. But for the most part, it seems like people are finally going, it's literal lip service every time. I mean, that's all they are. I mean, it's like a babysitter telling you what to do. It's like Trump's not going to listen, and they're happy about that. And it seems like people are waking up to that more and more.
Well, yeah, and I think people are also finally realizing that it's like when you have no opposition to a neo-fascist party, when your only opposition is just a bought blank suit right-wing party, that allows the neo-fascist party to just do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
And then most of this is just under the guise of bipartisanship, quote unquote, anyway.
Yes.
I mean, all this stuff has been bipartisan efforts. Nancy Pelosi's been right there along with it.
Yeah, no, I mean, at least for a while, like when it came to climate change, like the Green New Deal was a thing. Like there was a thing that was getting pushed, and there was an actual thing that you could that had actual policy and actual. Now, again, obviously, like they weren't going to put it forward because of how corrupted they are. But there's no thing. There's no thing right now. There's no thing that we can go. No, do this. I mean, unless we're pointing to other countries.
There's no
interest in pitching.
We need to really push the people's bill. That doesn't exist.
Yes, there's no politician pushing any policy. So that's why it feels so helpless, because I think we're at least used to there being something. This thing is going to come. If it's not the case, I mean, it might be the CARES Act in their head, but there's this looming problem that they have no interest in. I mean, we are Katrina-ing the economy. Yeah. We are in a slow 9/11, and they have no interest in hurrying. They want to wait until it's on the doorstep, and it's just going to result in.
I would say it is on the doorstep, man.
It's
like, I mean, there's civil unrest is like at historic proportions.
Don't you think it's going to be compounded and expanded in 2 months?
Oh yeah. I mean,
I can't even imagine what it's going to look like in 2 months.
Yeah.
Like Dave and I on the podcast, as I'm sure you guys all do, like we talk about the catastrophe that's been coming to America. We've talked about it for years. Yeah. I mean, we just didn't know the form it was going to take. I obviously wasn't like, it's going to be a pandemic and it'll finally, like, racial injustice there'll be a spark in that movement.
Yeah, no, but last time we hung out, man, I got some crow to eat. Because last time you and I hung out, which I know we talked about this on Twitter, but you were like, man, do you think this coronavirus thing is going to affect like tour dates for us and stuff? And I was like, no, come on. It's not going to get that bad, Gareth. You're crazy.
Yeah.
Have another one.
I know.
We're not going to cancel any tour dates. Come on.
I know. Well, because, it is very true that, like, it's like there's just certain catastrophes that you can't fathom. Even when you're in the midst of them, you can't. I mean, that's just how it works, I think. I think you just go, no, normal life will persevere. I mean, it's normal life. Like, it's so hard. The last live show that we did where Bert Kreischer was our guest, I mean, he had like a world tour, and he was just like, you really think I'm going to have to cancel some of these? And Dave, I mean, both of us, but Dave especially was just like, yeah, Bert, you're not going on your world tour. He was like, how's that possible? Like, you can't really process it, because
it happens once every 100 years.
Yeah,
and we got to be here for one of them.
Well, and honestly, it's also the ineptitude of which we have handled this, because my friends in Australia are back out doing gigs. I mean, they might not be in huge venues, but stand-up has returned, bars have returned, life has returned. And Australia did a really, really good job. I mean, a lot of countries did, but again, what makes Australia's model almost more fascinating is their government sucks. Their government is completely shit. So
because they look at us and be like, that's what we got to do.
yeah,
they have it together.
That's right. Yeah. Oh,
we got to be like the U.S. The U.S. is crushing it.
This is the model. This is the model. Yeah. Yeah, but they handled it fucking well, and they gave people enough money to not worry about going to work. I mean, that really is the gap I think that's missing in the debate of us being open for business or not, is that the debate shouldn't have ever been, look, I need money, I have to go back to work. That just shows you what a capitalist prison does to the mentality of a citizen. Mm-hmm. It makes somebody say, no, you don't need to take care of me. I need to get 3 jobs and I need to work nonstop. And that's how just make ends meet. I mean, that's really the name of the game. But at no point did really the majority of the country say, hey, our government has tons of money. Clearly, they should be giving us enough money to not have to put ourselves in harm's way. And we just completely breezed past that part and got to the part we're at now, where we're basically just like, hey, we're probably just going to go for herd immunity.
Right. And it's like, it's not a quote handout. This is a pandemic. Yeah, this is what we're dealing with. This is why we have a federal government. Yes. We have a federal government. Well, one of the reasons, at least, is when a pandemic happens, they got it. They got it handled.
We're just so used to them not doing shit that we don't even expect it anymore. We don't even think that they should have to do that. I mean,
right. Well, and it's so crazy because, especially, and I know, like, you guys with the dollop go all over the world. And when you go to other countries, like a lot of other places, it's like the attitude we have just like towards government and taxes and stuff like that. And a lot of times we have it for good reasons because, like our government doesn't actually help people. Our government doesn't invest in people. They just invest in war. So we have this attitude for good reason. But in other countries, it's like just bizarre. Like if you had like just a general American talk to someone in Denmark about like, the government, they're just like, they'd be so confused. They'd be like, what do you mean? Like I pay high taxes because my buddy Jim, who's my neighbor, works for this institution that provides me with this great service. Like it's just unheard of.
Yeah,
our attitude.
Traveling is probably one of the more dangerous things for citizens of this country to do, because it makes you realize that while we've been busy walking around going best country on earth the whole time, most other countries have overtaken us and just become better. And it's true. I mean, you go to any, the Scandinavian countries have this sort of people look at that as like super liberal. But you go there and you're like, boy, yeah, there's a lot to hate here. Everything's pretty much given to you, like outside of your food and your apartment, and everything's really clean. And there's a lot of free shit. Like what's happened in America is there's just been the stripping of these little things. Like when you remove like Mr. Rogers from TV, you don't see there's not a poll that goes, this next generation of kids has grown up less empathetic or less understanding or, more racial, whatever it is. Like there's no graph for that. You just notice that people are generally bigger assholes. And that's what's happened here. We've gotten rid of there's just no stuff given to people. There's no, there's no great transportation. There's no bullet train. There's just none of this, any industrial thing that has been we just don't do it, and we're just so used to it that we expect nothing. Mm-hmm. And that's what we get,
So here's a guy who has done something. This guy has been more productive than the entire federal government. Here's a dude that made this. Hey, Siri, I'm getting pulled over. This is an iPhone feature. Will record your police interaction and send the location. Now, I don't use this on my... Do you have an iPhone or?
I do, yeah. I don't even think I have it set up. I tried it recently and it didn't work. So yeah.
Yes. So what you need is you need to have this thing Shortcuts. All right. So this is for Apple users. It's called Shortcuts. And this was launched in 2018. It allows users to conduct tasks on their phones that would normally require multiple actions. And Twitter user Robert Peterson posted a link to a shortcut and an explanation of what it does. This is the police shortcut. And of course, first you have to have the Shortcuts app installed. Then once you get this Shortcuts app, you can download different shortcuts that I guess people make. And this guy made a police shortcut where you can say, Siri, I'm getting pulled over. And then here, so upon saying, hey, Siri, I'm getting pulled over, any music that may be playing is paused, and the screen's brightness is dim while the phone's do not disturb capability is turned on. The phone then automatically sends a message to a contact the user sets up, letting that person know that the user is being stopped by police, along with providing the user's location. The front camera is then turned on, and the phone begins to record the video of what is happening.
And then it says after that once you stop, it sends your video directly to your contact you set up.
Nice. Yeah.
So that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty solid. That's a pretty solid service.
It also tells you what a great state of affairs we're in when we are now at this point where people are, I mean, that's why, I mean, we are really at the point we're at. I mean, you totally fear the police more than the thing they're supposed to stop you from fearing.
Right. Well, and when you look at this is an example, and we're just accepting this as the new normal. Citizens are policing the police, literally, and they have to.
They have to. I mean, because when you look at what's gone on, I mean, like the fact that that another man was killed the other night is crazy as usual, but it's even crazier to think in this climate that they would feel comfortable. Like, if you're a cop, aren't you at the point where you're like, look, I really enjoy being able to shoot people who are unarmed, but I should probably take a break because society. But they're so poisoned that they're still able to, they still feel like they can shoot, and kill.
Well, and that's the thing. It's a systemic disease that has been correct. And the other thing that I think that, and I myself, I think I'm guilty of overlooking this at times. I think we all are. I mean, there has been a very high level concentration of like the worst of the worst infiltrating law enforcement. And it goes beyond just a bully with a gun. I mean, that's a big issue, obviously, but it gets even worse than that, because it's like, I mean, it was a long time ago that white supremacists and neo-Nazis started putting on suits and decided we're going to infiltrate regular institutions. And they have infiltrated law enforcement for a long, long time now. And it's an institution that's built upon a lot of systemic racism anyway. So it ain't that hard for them to get in. Anonymous showed us back in Ferguson that you got a lot of just straight up KKK members with badges and guns, and nothing happened. Yeah. Nothing was done. Nothing happened.
No, it's true. I mean, this has all been a long time coming, and many, again, you just never know the spark, but this one totally makes sense, and it really is. I mean, we know that we have a police force that has, and this, my friend said this the other day, and I thought it was right on. He was like, hey, what's that expression about what a few bad apples do again?
Yeah, they never read the second part. They're like, oh, it's just a few bad apples. It's like, that spoils the bunch.
Spoils the bunch. And it really is. And so it's, you do. I mean, we've talked about it on the show before that, a lot of the police, they have these Punisher tattoos, or there's this whole sort of Punisher thing, which has led to...
Did you see what the creator of the Punisher did?
No.
Oh, dude. So this is, I'll interject this real quick, man. But so they took note of how people were using like the Punisher logo to like justify police brutality and stuff. And I don't know if it was like the main creator or just one of the writers. I'm not fluent in like the lineage of the Punisher, but they made a Black Lives Matter logo, like an official, because they were just like, no, you're missing the point of what the Punisher's all about. No. So they made a Black Lives Matter Punisher.
Yeah, and they're on stuff too. Like the cops, they're fucking jacked up for this event that's going on right now.
Yeah,
I understand that. I hear from a lot of people that the defund the police is not a good slogan, that it hurts all this stuff. I'm at the point where until people start talking about how votes aren't counted, that everything else doesn't matter. So you should be able to say defund the police, and you should be able to embrace that. And you should be able to say, I'm sick of living in a world. This would be if the Democratic Party was an actual thing. I'm sick of living in a world where the Republican Party is able to completely remove nuance from things and then just hammer a one-line piece of bullshit that's not true, and that's enough to stop a movement. Like, defund the police is, again, it's a loaded statement, and I understand that it shocks people, but it's supposed to.
But you know what should shock people? Because right after that, right after you say defund the police, there should be a graph that shows people this is where your money, and you're going to see this big long bar for the police, and then these tiny microscopic bars for everything else.
And show the growth of those bars over the past 10 years, you know? Yeah. Exactly. So, you know, it sounds crazy, but again, you need to be allotted nuance, because it is not like people are like, well, what if there's a murder? It's like, yeah, no, look, this is you're talking about a play. If you fire somebody, like if you fire the person who gets your coffee because they keep pissing in the coffee pot, and you fire them, and then people are just like, well, how the hell are you ever going to have coffee again? It's like, I will figure that out. I'm just not going to drink piss coffee anymore. Like, I would rather be like, no piss coffee, I'll do better. And it won't be that hard. And I just don't, I think people really overestimate how well the policing system is put together, because they seem to think that it's impossible to build again.
How can we possibly have anything better than this systemic killing machine?
If we were trying to build a worse thing, I could understand the trepidation. People would be like, I don't know if you can build something worse. I think you probably want to, but we're trying to build a better thing. I just don't think it'll be that hard.
Right. I mean, dude, I've been tweeting about this, as we all have, and I actually decided I'm going to write out a thing and just post it. And it's like, well, here's what I would do.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, look, I have no business doing that. But whatever I come up with will not be worse than what we have now. It won't be worse.
No, it won't be, because you're not going to have things directed towards negative outcomes. So your plan will not have that in there. Therefore, better. Yeah, it really is just it's just crazy. I mean, it's crazy, and to hear the opposition again be so neutered immediately. To have the Black Caucus think that the right idea is to put Nancy Pelosi in some sort of scarf and Kaepernick in the state capitol for almost 9 minutes. It's the stunt of it all. It's ice cream all over again.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like just these meaningless symbolic actions, and then these quote reform mechanisms that aren't going to actually do anything.
Committees meeting, and you know, it's just all talk. It's very similar to what happens when there is like a mass shooting, and we don't hear from that person. Like even Derek Chauvin, the man who killed George Floyd, the cop. We're not going to get the satisfaction of finding out what happens to Derek Chauvin within any time frame that's going to mirror the anger we have now towards him. And that's how our politics works. It crawls so slowly by design so that you lose interest, and that something else is already more prevalent and relevant. And that's just by design. And that's what they're trying to do here. They just try to run the clock out, and it works so effectively, so often.
Yeah. Dude. It's like that is exactly what they're trying to do. And we're going through it in real time. And it's like, but the one to kind of interject some optimism in there, though, the one, silver lining is that I think people are finally seeing where they actually have some power. And it's not by showing up in a voting booth and voting for these blank suits. I'm not saying don't vote or anything, do you, but, we're seeing that our true power is getting out and protesting.
Yeah. Scaring them.
And then also locally, locally you can, and I'm not saying corruption doesn't happen at the local level. Of course it does, but especially here in Los Angeles, we've got it.
Like national politics in LA.
We've really got it in droves here, but there's still, I would say, comparatively speaking, a lot more accountability compared to at like the state and federal levels. And you can actually, if you really put pressure and you really show up and you really say, this is what we demand, they have to answer to you.
Yes, that's how you do it. We all have been watching other countries for decades that just are fed up and they just go, fuck it. They go to the streets and they change their government. Surely they're probably going to inherit another corrupted government that they'll have to overthrow right after. But I've always been like, how the hell does this not happen here? I mean, our breaking point is on some level that I just never expected. I did not think we had a breaking point. I thought it would come down to the economic collapse that's coming in the fall. I didn't think it would ever. It just is amazing to see people actually motivated and fucking pissed off enough to say fuck it. And part of why the timing is right is because, when you continue to take stuff away from people slowly but surely, you slowly take every little slice of the more that you remove, what you do at the end of the day is you just create a lot of people who have nothing left to lose. And that is when people are actually really, really powerful because they're not afraid, and people aren't afraid anymore like they were. And people now are it's even actually worse than being not afraid. They're empowered because they're seeing that there are many concessions being made. I mean, when you look at that fucking jazz zone they have in Seattle, I mean, they have 6 blocks and a police station in Seattle. I mean, and they're not, again, they're not like, it's not like they're a militia. They're not like one of these right-wing organizations. They are teaching diffusion tactics. They are giving away food. They are selling books. That's like an actual, so, that is contagious. And the more that people see that you can be effective in this way, it's dangerous. And it feels like a lesson we just have to learn every 30, 40, 50, 60 something years.
Yeah.
Longer and longer. This last stretch has been pretty long, but it feels like it's hopefully this is Occupy, but with lessons learned in teeth. And it feels like it is, knock on wood,
Totally, man. And that's the other, and I think what it takes is like a generation that's really only seen the true, short end of the stick.
Yeah.
And that's Gen Z, where it's just like, to them, and I'm really inspired by Gen Z. I mean, I see these kids, and they're like teens and early 20s making TikTok videos about socialism. I wouldn't have seen that growing up when I was a kid, but it's like to them, they're just like, and all the media propaganda of socialism being a bad word, they're like, fuck off.
Yeah.
I know what capitalism is. It sucks. I'm not for it.
I am very fed up with, I mean, this has never been said. I'm very fed up with the media too, but in a way where it feels like it's such fucking bullshit for Brian Williams to ever explain the tides are changing in this country and what people are actually waking up to, when you're the fucking guy who's had the alarm clock the whole time and chose by design to hit snooze on our behalf. And then to sit here now and be like, wow, what a crazy moment we're witnessing. People are finally figuring it out. And it's like, yes, with literally no help by design from you prick.
This is Brian Williams. I was just in the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. I dodged 75 missiles. I was guided by their beauty, but I still had to dodge them. And I want to quote the great Bob Dylan, the times they are changing.
Without question. Brian Williams should grow his hair, grow a beard, and go live in Chaz.
Totally. He'd fit right in.
Live from Chaz. Brian, you were supposed to be here an hour and a half ago. Time has no meaning anymore. Here we are. I do it when I feel like it. Yeah.
Oh man, Omar, thank you very much for the super chat contribution. 9 debates on how we can afford healthcare. It's a joke. Yeah, no kidding. Because it's by the way, universal single payer healthcare will be cheaper than what we have now. Even a Koch brothers study revealed that.
I know.
It's unbelievable.
That study was amazing where they were like, the big reveal.
Yeah. Yeah. And Omar goes on to say opposition only when it comes to helping people with war and tax breaks for the rich. They're all complicit. Only when it comes to helping poor people are they like, how can we afford this? When it comes to war, missiles, helping the rich, no one asked that question. You're right, Omar.
We have daddy's credit card then.
Yeah, right. No one asked this. Kate sent you a message through your website about government's grant support for small businesses. I will check that out. I don't think I've seen it yet, Kate, but I will check it out. Rock on with your bad self. Love the show. Thank you very much, Kate. Thank you, Omar, and thank you, Kate, for your super chat contributions. It is very much appreciated. Gareth, where can people go to learn more about you?
You can go to, you can find me at Reynolds Gareth on social media and Gareth Reynolds TV on YouTube. And I do shows from my bedroom every Thursday night at 6 p.m. California time, where you can send in suggestions of things for me to just riff on. It's called Gareth's. Then you can send that to garethslive@gmail.com. That's it.
Nice, man.
And the
Thank
Dollar
you.
Podcast.
Yes.
And Point versus Point.
If you haven't checked out the Dollop, please do it. It's one of my favorite podcasts. It's a history lesson, and there
are many episodes now that, and I say this as someone who doesn't write the episodes, so I feel like I can say that the relevancy in some of the episodes we've done over the years that Dave has come up with could just, in today's world, it's pretty remarkable.
Well, people are just like resharing them and retweeting them, and it's like episodes that you guys did a while back that are just so poignant right now.
LAPD, or there's
Clarence Thomas.
Yeah. There's a ton. So, but yeah, so there's some interesting stuff to listen to. If you want to hear all the gripes of today, equally angered 5 years ago, then there's some episodes.
Nice. Gareth, thank you so much for joining me today. Omar, Kate, thank you for the super chat contributions. Guys, we'll be back tomorrow, same time, same channel, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Tara Devlin from Terra Busters is going to join me tomorrow. So that's going to be a fun time. And in the meantime, you know the drill. Lucy says meow. I say peace. Peace.